though he claimed he acted as my forerunner in good faith. Now that I haven't even been able to speak to any of them, the adage that states, "You don't know the value of what you have until you lose it," came into play. Despite putting up a stern face and fighting to put my past behind me, I felt nostalgic. I couldn't resist asking Clement if he had heard from anyone at home. "Sister," he said, "you can't believe what happened last week." "Well, how would I know unless you told me?" "Sister, you can't believe it. It was like a miracle." And when I shouted, everyone on the bus thought I was mad or had seen a ghost. I began to lose patience with the suspense he was making me go through. "Clement, Clement, Clement, how many times did I call your name?" "3 times, sister." "Now tell me, what happened instead of all this, your hyper story as usual?" "Sister, this is no hype story. I got on the bus that morning heading to Onitsha main market. When I alighted from the bus, guess who the passenger who wanted to get on the bus was?" "Never mind," he said after a short pause. "It's something you cannot imagine because it was simply an act of God. The way I shouted, 'Brother Ikenna,' when I saw him, he almost took to his heels because he didn't know I was in Onitsha. I jumped on him and gripped him. 'It's me, Clement,' I shouted. 'It's not a ghost, brother,' I repeated, and the bus conductor closed the door behind him and they drove away, leaving Brother Ikenna and me to carry on with our drama. Brother Ikenna was going for his lunch break, and he took me to a mama put where we joyfully ate together and talked for the next 2 hours. He said someone from our village in the public market arena told him that a millionaire had married my sister and taken her to Lagos. He also said the man promised to take the rest of our siblings to Lagos and has kept making fun of him as the forgotten David sleeping in the field with flocks of sheep when his other siblings went to be anointed by Samuel. Somehow, I defended myself by reminding him that despite his lowly beginning, David became the king. Since then, I've imagined you and our sister having a good time in Lagos, while I wasted time here in Onitsha serving a man whose wife is so stingy that giving us food after a hard day's job was a big deal. Sister, this was just the beginning of the miracle that day. I told him my story and how I ended up in Onitsha by chance instead of proceeding to Lagos. He sounded dismayed, but when I finished my narrative, he wished to see and thank my boss immediately. I calmed him down, and we went into the market to buy the things I came to buy because it was getting late. We agreed to meet on Sunday at St. Mary's Cathedral, Upper Iweka, where my boss worshipped so that I could attempt to present his case and see what he would say about it. When I returned to workshop that afternoon, my boss was angry that it took me so long to return from the market. I had 100 reasons and excuses to give, including heavy traffic, not seeing the original as he demanded, and difficulty getting a van to carry the things I bought. Still, my spirit encouraged me to tell the story as it was. I apologized and told him I had run into my brother, who had come to Onitsha before me but never knew I was in Onitsha. I recounted the scene that ensued as I alerted from the bus and how every passenger at the bus stop and passers-by thought we were two mad people. He looked at me with pity, compassion, and apprehension. Then he asked, "How is he doing?" "Not so well, sir." He was complaining of maltreatment and how poorly Oga's wife fed him. "Sir, for my sake, I wish you could bring him out of there and fix him somewhere." "What about bringing him to work with us?" he asked. "That will mean heaven to him. My family and I will remain ever grateful to you, sir." Guess what, sister? He asked me to invite Brother Ikenna to the house next Sunday. Isn't that a miracle, sister? As I ended the call with my brother Clement, I felt great relief. I was almost in tears but tried to withhold my emotions because Eddie was sitting close to me. Despite the falsehood that trailed our marriage, I felt grateful that everything God did for my family and me, directly or indirectly through Eddie's contact, right from the day we arrived in Onitsha and ended up in a hotel, I strongly felt that Eddie deceived my father into thinking he had struck a gold mine. When we got to Lagos and ended up in a BQ, I felt hopeless. And the only thing that came to my mind was that he was just another pawn on the chessboard, and that my father had become a victim of his selfishness. But as it stands, a rolling stone can sometimes gather momentum, even though it gathers no moss. I went down on my knees, leaned forward, and held Eddie's knees. I felt like hugging and kissing him, but avoided calling up the fire. "Baby," I said, "I pray God gives me the grace to reciprocate your kindness in the best possible way. Can I go into the kitchen and make some favorite dish for dinner?" In his usual jovial way, he reached out to grab me, hoping that I would shout and run as I used to, but I allowed him to pull me next to him. He held me tight and started his usual forceful attempt to kiss me. I then let him have his way and had a deep and prolonged kiss for the first time. When I finally freed myself from his hold, I went into the kitchen to make a sumptuous okra soup. He followed me to the kitchen and helped me cut the okra. As we cooked, he helped me with my homework by reading and discussing the civic education textbook. He claimed it was also beneficial to follow up with current affairs. The days ahead were very engaging for me as I got busy with school in preparation for the upcoming first term examinations. I also had to contend with various family issues. As earlier promised, we went to see his doctor who recommended a gynecologist that we could visit to discuss the best family planning procedures to follow at this stage. Before now, I didn't know what family planning was all about. I was unaware it was all about condoms and an uncompromising commitment to understanding the safe period between one period of menstruation and the other. The gynecologist was a female doctor. It gave me confidence. My last experience with a male gynecologist was embarrassing. When I had my first menstruation, especially when he ordered me to take off my clothes and lie on my back on a stretcher in his office, I felt very naive and suspicious after he asked my mother to wait outside. He started by tracing my breast with both hands, pretending to look for carcinomas, which he described as carcinogenic cells generally found in mammary glands. He watched me closely to see my reactions, but I kept mute and withheld my excitement until he went further down and attempted to stick his finger into my private part without success. I immediately pushed him away, took my pants and clothes and ran into the toilet in his consulting room. I bolted the door behind me, quickly dressed up and walked out on him. I couldn't understand what all those touching had to do with the excessive bleeding which I was experiencing at that age. The doctor we came to visit, apart from being female, was an obstetrician and gynecologist. She had this confidence and professionalism that made me feel at home. She asked if I was still a virgin, and I replied in the affirmative. 100% ma, and she burst out laughing with Eddie. Being a student and a wife is one of the hard knots we often must handle with extreme care. Pills are not the best option at this stage because it is usually easy to forget to take them regularly, increasing the potential chances of betraying you. As a mother, I outrightly condemn the carelessness of your parents for giving you out into marriage at this age. I presume there must be circumstances around this decision that are outside my professional sphere of interference. Accept my apologies, young lady. Now, let us focus on the business of the day. I would advise implanting an intrauterine device, popularly known as an IUD. This is a long-lasting reversible contraception with very little or no side effects. As far as I was concerned, she spoke Latin or gibberish because I didn't know what an IUD was or how it got implanted or managed. She looked at me sheepishly to see if I understood that she was talking about breaking my virginity. The doctor seemed apprehensive about my confusion and offered 2 immediate solutions. I will give you something to read to help you understand better what we just discussed. As for now, I will provide you with some emergency contraceptive pills. I'm suggesting the emergency contraceptive pill to enable your husband to open the channel gradually before we proceed with the implants. She wrote the name of the emergency pills, handed them over to my husband and said, when her mindset is ready for womanhood, we will suspend the drugs. We returned home almost in silence as I didn't want to talk about what has transpired in the gynecologist's clinic. Eddie was highly excited and nearly became repetitive in his efforts to drive home the message and the method suggested by the doctor. Baby, he said, should we stop at the pharmacy to buy the things she recommended? Uncle, we only went for a consultation under normal circumstances. We should go home and digest what she said. Am I speaking like an Igbo girl that sucked her mother's breasts? He laughed so hard that I wondered if I didn't quote the proverb correctly. He looked at me from head to toe and said, baby, I wonder if your parents told me your proper age. You have such a mature sense of humor and the things you often do amaze me. I've dated girls in their 30s and their approach to life differs entirely from yours. I'm sorry, baby, if I failed to meet your needs in any way, but remember, you promised to allow me to mature a bit before playing this adult game. Besides, you know how painful breaking into that tunnel is. Is it now that we are about to start our exams that you want to subject me to such torture? By the way, if I may ask, have you broken someone's virginity before? You will be my first and last experience, I promise. Eddie laughed so hard that he had to pull into a filling station to avoid running into the car ahead of us. He looked into my eyes as if searching for an answer. Sincerely, I haven't gotten to do that until now. Uncle Eddie, please promise me not to do it until I turn 18, or I might become tempted to report you to the Child Abuse Tribunal. I know your fears, but also myself, and who am I? Have you ever thought of that, my love? A few days before you came with your gang to deceive my father and blow off his head with bogus talk shows typical of Yahoo boys and sometimes Anambra men, my mother sat me down and told me how sad she was about not being able to stop this sellout marriage. We both wept, but deep in my heart, I promised myself never to give up, even if that meant escaping in the middle of the night with all the risks involved. Unfortunately, all my attempts failed because my father had taken it upon himself to avoid impending dishonor. We are a monetarily poor family, though self-sufficient in every other thing. Keeping our dignity intact is a kind of disease we inherited, which will continue to be the case. Having said this, I promise you that if you keep your promises, I will keep mine. How I captured his attention remains a mystery, but he listened to me as if I was preaching a sermon from the mountainside like in the days of Jesus Christ. He moved from where he was sitting, came and sat near me and whispered into my ears, "Baby, this boat will never sink as long as it depends on me." He paused and continued, "I've seen lots of rain and sunshine in my 30-year journey. I've seen the bad and the ugly, and now I have what seems to be the good before me. I've heard it said in the church that bar, social club, and even from my father, that nothing good comes easy. It seemed like the gods were out to test my resilience, but by God's grace, I had seen the light at the end of a tunnel and decided to tread that path." "Which tunnel?" I asked, and he busted out laughing as usual.